Greetings and welcome back to another fantastic, action-packed episode of Death, Taxes, and Sports Podcast, episode 97. We are quickly approaching episode 100. We're making history. I'm here with several of my esteemed DTS colleagues. We got the queen of DTS herself. I promise you that crown's coming. The packages. It must have been the UPS strike and all that. So the package is coming. I promise. And Ben Holloway. Lady and gent, how are you guys doing?
We're doing good. Marissa, how about you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Very grateful to be here.
Awesome. Indeed. Excited to start a training camp where everyone feels that they have a chance. Everyone's 0-0, and then the season starts. Then reality sinks in for a lot of teams, and then they're misery, and then they go mad with drunken rages. But it's all good. All good. So tonight we're going to be discussing the results of the NBA fan polls, which I'm really excited to get into. Fantasy football, of course, we have to talk about that. We're going to be discussing some exciting NFL storylines and much, much, much more. Ben, we're on we're not at the goal line yet, but we're definitely in the red zone with these polls. You're in the backfield. I'm quarterback. I'm Mr. Concussion. I haven't gotten sacked yet. I'm staying upright. I'm going to pass you the ball, and we're going to get to the 10-yard line. Take it away, sir.
All right, excellent. So we picked 8 NBA teams that were all fantastic, but did not win the NBA title, win the NBA Finals. And from there, we had 4 different matchups. And I'm going to state the winners of the matchups rather than go matchup by matchup, and then also discuss the closest vote and the largest vote. So here's what we got for our final 4 teams. Which we're going to need you guys to vote again. We've got 2015, 2016 Warriors, 97, 98 Utah Jazz.
Which we're going to 15, 2016 Warriors.
92, 93 Suns, and 94, 95 Magic. So that's the Charles Barkley MVP year, 92, 93. 94, 95 Magic is Penny Hardaway, and Shaq. So those are the final 4. We kind of reseeded, and the matchups, which the tweets will go out tomorrow with the polls. Matchups for the final 4 will be the Warriors, 73-9 Warriors, versus the Jazz, 97-98, and then Barkley Suns versus Shaq and Penny Magic will be the other matchup. So as far as closest and biggest blowout of the first matchups, biggest blowout was actually rounding up 69% to 31%. We had 69% voted for the 94-95 Magic over the 2017-2018 Rockets. Which, by the way, that Rockets team almost beat the KD Warriors.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how good that Rockets team was.
Yeah.
So that was a tiny bit surprising, but a complete wipeout, almost 70-30. And then the closest wasn't that close, but still, the closest was the Suns, Barkley MVP Suns, and then the number 1 seed Seattle Supersonics at the time, 93-94. That vote ended up being 58-42. So that was actually the closest for the first matchups. And we had some fun. I totaled it up just to see how many. We got a total of 269 votes, which averages out to 67 per poll. So I just kind of wanted to see the numbers. And I'm not disappointed. So we're going to need your help again. We're going to need you to vote again. And then ultimately next Tuesday, we will state or announce who the fans determined as the best NBA team to never win. So been exciting so far. And just for anyone who doesn't know or hasn't heard, we're doing this for all sports, all 4 major American sports, with a grand finale, which will be September 5th, I believe. We are going to, once there's one NBA, one baseball, one hockey, one football. Okay, let's pick the best. Well, not us.
Yeah.
You. So the best overall team to not win, that will be announced on the 5th, September 5th, I believe it is, Tuesday. So it's been fun. It's going to continue to be fun, and we're already kind of throwing ideas back and forth at each other about what we're going to do next, because we're having fun with these. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, Mercy, I know you got some thoughts. I can see it in your eyes.
I'm impressed with the voters going back to Short Shorts, John Stockton, and the Mailman, and that squad that was almost like literally everybody that year. And I remember watching that game on my little bitty TV in my 1-bedroom mansion, aka my apartment. That team was something special. Like, I mean, I actually believe that they were gonna, pull it off, because at the time they were playing the Bulls in the finals, correct?
That was the iconic push off Michael Jordan, Byron Russell.
Byron Russell. And I know he's still having nightmares to this day. But yeah, well, that team right there, like I honestly thought that they were so close. But that Bulls team, Jordan, Scotty, Kukoc, I mean, hello, the Wizard Phil Jackson. I mean, it was just so close, but that Bulls team just went a whole accelerated level. I mean, who was going to beat them at that time?
It's one of those things that, like, we can all sit here and say that, like, 73-9 Warriors, probably the best NBA team, but who knows? Maybe we don't know who's voting. Those Stockton and Malone Jazz were stacked, as you just said. So who's to say that people won't vote for them? We're not.
I like that people back to the basketball era and not the recent, with the the Warriors team and having that unbelievable run that we saw a few years ago. Like, literally everybody's going back to the Rolodex of basketball and seeing that these teams and how they actually were, where we didn't have all these 10,000 rules and people got away with flopping. Shout out to Robert Horry. And people was throwing punches and everything else, and we didn't have people having $2, $3, $4 million fines and suspended the whole season. Like, literally, I believe that kind of era back then, in that basketball era, is what I really enjoyed, because they let them play. They let them play. They let them play. They let them flop. They let them fight. They let them have a flying elbow, WWE style. Sometimes when I look at basketball today, I kind of miss what the basketball was of old. And what it was like. It was more intense. It was more edge of your seat. It was that kind of time during the NBA where literally there was, like, on the border of rules, but rules were always broken. That's the kind of basketball I miss.
Yeah, no doubt. And welcome back, Gary Legend himself. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, and I came in at the good evening, everybody. I came at the tail end of the conversation, but I could not agree more. I miss that old 90s, like, you knew a fight might break out. Like, I miss that immensely.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's, I don't know, like, a lot of people are giving the Warriors the credit for that 73-9, but I just do not think they're the best team. I just don't. I mean, it's super talented players, but it's based on record.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm just saying they just won. Come on, Ben. God, how you doing today? No, I'm just saying the Warriors team is super talented, but I'm sorry. They're only there because of that record. I give them the props, but there were just teams that were just deeper and just better. But just my thoughts. But Gary, go to you then, Ben, and then we'll wrap up with some final thoughts, Marissa, and then we will continue on with some baseball talk.
No, I mean, I'm you kind of set the table there with the Warriors. Like, yes, had they got the job done, had they beat the Cavs, then they would not even be a part of this conversation at all. they would definitively be the greatest team of all time. But, you know, they're the biggest flop because you did what Michael, you got one more than what Michael and his Bulls got in the 90s. But the difference is Michael and his Bulls got it done. And that's even after giving up a 3-0 lead.
Facts on that. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Ben?
I was just going to say it's interesting we got in the Final Four 3 teams from the 90s. I kind of like that. And all those teams were stacked. I mean, Charles Barkley literally won the MVP when Michael Jordan was in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good he was in his prime and how good that Suns team was. And we already talked about the Jazz, and then the Magic with Shaq and Penny. That's one of the biggest what ifs if they stayed together and if Penny Hardaway stayed healthy. So we got some talent in that Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely looking forward to it. Marissa, do you have any predictions as to how the fans might vote? No pressure.
Oh, I'm impressed with the fans, sticking with the past and not looking at the last few years. That's what I'm really impressed with. I mean, these fans are out there knowing what real basketball is about and agreeing with us that the 90s era of basketball literally was absolutely a key pivotal time in basketball itself. Again, you said, Ben, the Utah Jazz is in the Final Four? The 90s
yeah, so
group?
Here we go. So we got the Final Four matchups going to be the Warriors, 73-9 Warriors versus Stockton Malone Jazz. That's one matchup. And then 92-93 Suns versus 94-95 Magic.
That Utah Jazz team, again, was stacked. I think if they went against the 73-9 Warriors, they would win. They would have a ring. They would have hardware. And I know people are going to challenge me on that, and comments are going to to be coming, and that's fine. But
hey, we need conversation. We need comments.
I went there. Tea is hot. People, tea is hot.
Okay. You got your spotted tea. You got your spotted tea there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I get it. Hey. All right. Well, that's gonna be interesting. So definitely looking forward to seeing fans. You have to vote. It's very, very, very important. You must practice your democratic right to vote. There's no pressure, but just pressure. All right. Moving on. MLB trade deadline. Specifically, these 3 teams. The Padres, Rangers, Astros. Man, just to kind of play it, the Padres traded for a 43-year-old Rich Hill. That man is still going. The Rangers ended up trading for Jordan Montgomery, which was definitely an interesting one. And then that other team we will not even acknowledge traded for Justin Verlander. So there's just a lot of reasons why I would not acknowledge them. They do not deserve to be a team. They should disassemble them. They shouldn't. And if they win the World Series again, I don't know what I will do. But Gary, thoughts on these trade deadlines overall, these moves? Specifically, want to hit on these Padres, man, a team that's many games back, high payroll, very top-heavy with their lineup. Just overall thoughts on what they need to do this season. Is it salvageable? Just tell me how you feeling, buddy.
I mean, really, for all 3 teams, they had to do something at the trade deadline. I mean, I say that in the sense of, you will start with the Padres. That was a massive investment that was going to look god awful if they didn't at least take a swing at the playoffs. And I still think, for them, they're looking at the rest of the season schedule, looking at, who's in front of them and going, okay, maybe we can catch one of these wild card spots and everything, they're banking on that. And the NL is kind of what it is this season. It's not as, I wouldn't call it as top heavy as it has been in recent years. So, for them, I understand why they were shooting their shot there. Regarding the Rangers, you also forgot to mention Max Scherzer being traded from those New York Mets who just will. Mets are going to Met. Mets are going to Met, folks. Texas is going all in because they have to. You're the little brother to all of Houston's success in the last few years. You got to 2 World Series, early in the 2010 and 2011. Didn't get the job done then. You're one of these teams that's like, look, you have to capitalize on the talent that you have because that Houston's coming, and that Houston's coming because they went ahead and brought back Justin Verlander to try to get one more ring. Mm-hmm. So for them, Texas, this was the arms race that they were trying to pull. It's not between them and the Yankees or them and the Orioles. It's them and Houston. So for them, I'm impressed with what they've done. Now we just got to see if that can all manifest itself to actual success in October and getting back to the World Series and actually getting it done this time. And then again, just with the Astros, they're the prohibitive favorite until somebody knocks them off, and then you just added back a damn good pitcher, even in his 40s, and Justin Verlander. So, you can almost say, all right, well, they're trying to punch their ticket to the World Series once again, and they've done a hell of a job kind of putting themselves in that position.
Ben?
Yeah, so on the Padres, they definitely would have been sellers if, the last 9 games didn't work out as they did. They're still under 500, which is crazy, but they're 7-2 their last 9 games, now at 52-55 overall. Even with the below 500 record, we're at August 1st. We have 2 full months, and they are 5 games back in the wild card. Forget the division, doesn't really matter. You got to get in. So the fact that they turned it around, started playing better the last 10 days is definitely why their front office said, you know what, let's go for it. And this was I just wrote down Fab Four. Anyways, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr. Definitely their best 4 position players. And 52-55, that's 107 games. All 4 of them have played at least 87. So they've been there. They've been available. Tatis was the lowest with 87. And all 4 of them, their batting average this year compared to their careers, all of them are down. So, if you need an explanation in black and white simplicity why their record is what they are, your 4 best players are underperforming. That's the recipe for underperforming. So interesting, that they decided to be buyers, but it's hard for me to sit here and say it's the wrong move just because of the overall talent on their roster and being within striking distance. I think the Padres actually did the right thing by, becoming buyers.
Yeah, and Marissa, you look at the Diamondbacks, who I thought should have made a trade for a player like Jordan Montgomery, who I think was available. There were a lot of different teams that needed starting pitching, but again, to your point, Gary, there just wasn't a lot of pitchers that were necessarily going to be able to make that change. I'm also surprised that the Angels made the trades that they did, but hey, they're keeping Ohtani, so that's going to be interesting to watch. It's definitely going to be a lot of different storylines to watch. But Marissa, your thoughts?
I'm loving this drama that's happening for Texas right now. I really am. You got a 40-year-old still gassing the tank, Justin Verlander getting dropped back off, running away from the subway as fast as he can, going right back to the Astros. And then you have my wonderful favorite pitcher that used to be on the Detroit Tigers, Crazy Eye, Max Scherzer, 39 years young. Both of them here in the state of Texas. I love it because they're both a half game out. I believe the Texas is in first in the West. With Astros right behind them. I absolutely love this drama that's going on in Texas right now. I mean, to add these 2 pitchers on both teams and see what they can bring to the table, it's going to be all the way down to the stretch, gentlemen, what that is going to do. I mean, pretty much it's going to be neck and neck with these 2 teams down the stretch. And me being here in Texas, I may invest in a couple of games or 2 now that these additions have been made for the Astros and for the Rangers. I'm going to have to tune in more than I have been, because now this is going to be some incredible drama going into the wild card and postseason.
Yeah, this baseball season, I think overall I feel like this baseball season has been one of the most exciting baseball seasons in a very, very, very long time, because you got teams like the Orioles that are just kind of not necessarily coming out of nowhere. You got the whole Ohtani drama with the Angels. You got this division with the Padres and the Dodgers, and just all these different things. And so I'm definitely going to be tuning, like you said, Marissa, to how the playoff races come, and especially the playoffs happen, because I think it's going to be something really special. But Ben, real quick on the Rangers, and then we'll get to some football here.
Yeah, so on the Rangers, I like to give credit to owners or GMs or whoever is making the moves. when they're being aggressive. So the last 2 to 3 years, they've paid money for, kind of big money for these guys, but they've gotten them. Nathan Eovaldi, who was pretty good for the Red Sox, not amazing, but he's a good starter. Jacob deGrom obviously got hurt, but he was a big prize addition. Corey Seager, who proved himself in the playoffs with the Dodgers, and now Max Scherzer. Like the Rangers ownership, front office, they're like, listen, we're going at it. Like I can always applaud teams and front offices for being aggressive and going for it. So I think that's, and the other thing too is, they're 3-7 in the last 10. So their lead on the Astros, you're correct, is a half game, but it was like 4 or 5. So I think the front office is like, listen, we believe in the bigger sample size. We know we have a great team. So you know what? We're going to go get you an ace. We don't care how old he is. He's still got something in the tank. So I applaud the Rangers for going for it.
I mean, their offense is one of the best offenses in baseball. So
absolutely,
like the thing is we've seen it. I mean, Gary, we've seen it with the Yankees. It's like there are going to be times where that offense is not necessarily clicking, and you're going to need some pitchers that are going to be able to get you deep into innings, and so you're not blowing your bullpen so quickly in the series. But it's going to be interesting. Let's see, and hopefully these Rangers hold on to it, and the Astros can quickly tank, and Jose Altuve maybe gets the flu, and just a lot of bad things happen to the Astros. I said what I said. So moving forward, everybody, let's
bitter Yankees fan.
That's my gripe. That's my gripe, Gary. That's my gripe. I can't do it like you. But I'm trying to be like you, buddy.
My gripe. I didn't have it ready yet, and then 6 o'clock passed, and I got one for you. So
yes.
Okay, looking forward to it. Listeners, make sure y'all see it because these gripes are legendary, guys.
Yes, they are.
Indeed. So let's throw NFL. So I'll pick one NFL team that missed the playoffs last year to make it this year. Marissa, I know as excited you are, I wonder who you're going to pick. So I'm just going to let you go with it.
Give it to the queen first.
Well, I'm not trying to do any kind of subtle clues or anything for those that are watching around the world of this show, but your girl has got to stick with her team. The Detroit Lions are going to be something special this fall, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a loyal fan. Yes, I am. I'm saying that because I'm a loyal fan. The way that they ended the season last year, the punch in the mouth that they gave, the now discount double check that took his talents now to the New York Football Jets, the way that they handled that team last year at Green Bay was something that was extraordinary. And ending the season above 500, even though we didn't make the playoffs, I didn't care. That showed me promise. That showed me what Dan Campbell is doing with his team as well as his coaching staff. It shows me that Jared Goff is finally getting the system correctly. Aiden Hutchinson is now, got his first year under his belt, and he's going to tear it up this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, I know that he has been out for a few days. He's under concussion protocol, but he's going to be all right. Just a question marks around Jameson Williams, who was throwing punches at an undrafted player, but he suspended the first 6 games. So people are already calling him a bust. I say hold off and pump the brakes on that because I think that he'll come back, learn his lesson, clean up, be mentally ready to go in and tear a little something when he gets back off of this and hopefully never bet on games again. I'm excited about what this team is going to do. I'm excited about what these coaches is going to do with this team. I'm excited about, and I saw the schedule. I have a half a dozen eggs in the basket. I don't have all my eggs in the basket because there's going to be some tough games that's going to happen, especially right in the middle core of their schedule. But the way that I'm looking at it, I still have them winning and going into the postseason. There will be a card needed. Yes, I said that. Write it down, book it. I think that they will win outright. Am I concerned? The only concern that I have is possibly 2 road games, which will be at Minnesota, which is an early game, and at Chicago. But other than that, this team is ready to go. The focus is much better. I got to catch a couple of their games that they had streaming on Detroit Lions Network, and they look good, gentlemen. They look good.
Yeah, the Lions. I mean, this is probably I would say that there are two teams, right, that have it's probably the biggest, most important seasons for them. It's the Dolphins and the Lions.
Mhm.
I think they're two of the most intriguing teams when it comes to the talent's there, what they're capable of, and I think the Lions. A lot of people are sleeping on Jared Goff, but Jared Goff was the number one
They
overall
are.
draft pick for a reason.
I
And
agree with
think
that. And they are. And I think that when the Lions, and it's the phrase that it pays all the time, it's like the Lions are going to lion every single time. When the first half of the season was happening and the Lions were playing some tough road games, they were playing some close games. And then that, horrible loss that we had at the Patriots, like, to have your former head coach just be right there where I just wanted them to just go and just to sock them in the mouth, and we didn't get the job done. But the second half of the season and how week after week they were starting to get it, except for the exception of the one loss in between that back half, which was, I believe, at Minnesota. Jared Goff, I don't think he gets a lot of credit just for the sheer fact of because of the mistakes he's had, but they don't look at the adjustments. And that's throughout the weeks, and you all saw it. We all watch a lot of football. He seemed to get it week after week after week after week. The accuracy of throwing, the pass in the pocket. He was, for me, for the first time, I saw him not afraid to make a play, even if it was a gamble. He took the chance, and sometimes it paid off, and sometimes he learned from it and did the adjustments. So that's why I'm excited to see what he learned from last season that he's going to bring into this season and make it better. But I'm really hyped about these Lions. I'm looking forward to it. I'm telling everybody now, I got a surprise from my husband. We're going to go see when they play the Cowboys here in Texas on the 30th December. We've been talking a whole lot of mad trash to one another. So Ben, sorry, not sorry, but go Lions. We will win that day.
Okay.
Just let you know.
We'll see. I like it. We'll see. I'm going to take the baton here, and I'm not going to go with my Broncos because that would be an obvious one here. But I think if there's going to be any team that I'm really intrigued to see that I think is going to make it, I somehow feel that the Steelers are going to find a way to get it done. There's just something telling me Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, the Pickets of the picks and the Pickett. You get what I'm saying? But go ahead, Gary.
It's death, taxes, and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's going to always figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
He's never had a losing record in 17 years as head coach. He's going to figure it out. So that's part of the reason why. I'm going to let you keep going, but that's part of the reason. We can talk about the players, but it's Mike Tomlin. You trust him. He's a known brand. He's a known entity that's proven himself a couple of times now. So
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Najee Harris because of the type of season that he had last year. And I do not think it was for lack of ability. I just think that offensive line was absolutely horrendous. So if they're able to fix that offensive line, that defense still has some key pieces on the interior. I mean, Deontay Johnson is just as good as the number one receiver, albeit maybe not top 10, but still good perennial, like top 20, top 25 type of receiver. I mean, they got weapons on the outside. Tight end, Freiermuth, is that his name? Freiermuth, how do you pronounce his name? But anyway.
I think it's Freiermuth, but
anyway, the Muth, we'll just call it.
Freiermuth, yeah.
Yeah, Freiermuth. Like, this
yeah.
is a team, but the thing is, though, is that Kenny Pickens has got to be able to take the next step. He has to be more than just a game manager. He can't be a Daniel Jones, no pun intended, Gary. But he's going to have to be the reason why that they win a couple games. It's going to be a couple moments. But I'll go to you, Gary, and then Ben, I'll give you the floor because I feel like you have something you really want to say. I can reach your mind, Ben.
The sexy choices are obviously Marissa's Detroit Lions. You mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go with the other obvious one, and that would be the New York Jets. I think, with all the buzz and all the hype and everything, and I'm not going to go through the whole Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, everybody up and down that roster. Maybe they'll get Dalvin Cook. Maybe they won't. Who knows? But, we talk about this, but sometimes there's just teams that are just due. And I think the stars are aligning enough that the Jets will find themselves playing football meaningful games in January, and who knows how much further into the playoffs. I mean, I do 12-5 and a loss in the divisional round, but still, the Jets, I feel like they're primed to take that step forward. And you look at that division. Yes, it's going to be tough for them to do it, but I look at the AFC East of this year, kind of resembling what the NFC East last year did, where really all 4 teams were kind of in the hunt until the end.
Facts. Ben, who do you have?
I like it, but Gary, good job not reading the agenda. I'm just busting your chops. But we weren't supposed to pick the Jets because the Jets are the obvious one.
Well, no, because I mean,
I'm just busting you.
We've mentioned Detroit and Pittsburgh because those two are the other ones that are like, yeah, they seem primed to take that next step. If I had to go off the board, I'll say Tennessee as well. I think, depending on what the quarterback situation is looking like, you still got King Henry. You just got
DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins. Like, that team is geared up to kind of right itself in the AFC South and kind of take back its title. So I think out of all the names that we've mentioned, I think they would be a team that we can look at and, people are sleeping on, but I don't think they need to sleep on them very long.
Hey, I'm curious, gentlemen, and I wanted to throw this wrench into the conversation. I know we want to talk about the Jets, but we have seen their distaste of being featured for Hard Knocks. What I want to throw out to 3 of y'all is, should Hard Knocks end?
No. So the whole thing of, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit passionate about this, so I have to step in on this. The fact that they didn't want to be on it, or there's added pressure, like you're out of your mind. You're in New York. You just got Aaron Rodgers. The HBO cameras being there is not any additional pressure. And if you feel that it's additional pressure and that your season doesn't go the way that you wanted, and then you came around and turned it on, the reason it didn't go is because of Hard Knocks. You just look like you look horrible. The fact that they even came out and said that they didn't want to be on it, to me, is like almost like, why? And also like it's just like, you're an NFL player, you're in one of the biggest media markets, like you're gonna get, when you get Aaron Rodgers, you're gonna get a ton of coverage. So like the whole thing of the Hard Knocks being a distraction, it's just laughable to me, especially because the teams can edit it. HBO says, here's our footage, and the team says, I don't want this, let's put that.
For them to say that they don't want to be featured on Hard Knocks is like they have this secret clubhouse, or they have this clubhouse with a secret password that they're not going to allow anybody in, and they don't want to give any kind of access or anything else. It's just like, I so 100% agree with you on that, Ben. I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts about that, since they were making a whole uproar about it in the media.
Well, Aaron Rodgers said he wanted to go there. Like, this was his choice. Like, if he wanted to go somewhere else, he probably could have done it, right? Like, he was the one that said, I want to go to the Jets.
Or retirement.
You know what that's going to – exactly. And you know what that was going to come with. He's already a prima donna. I don't know. The diva, Aaron Rodgers himself, you knew what that was going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Gary, I feel like you got something to say. I can just see it in your eyes.
Let's go, Gary.
You don't want to be any extra pressure or any added spotlight. The minute you wake up and you're breathing and you're an employee of the New York Jets or any New York sports team, the pressure is on. So, like, what, do you think an extra camera someplace is going to be that big of a deal? Like, in my opinion, I think they said they didn't want to be on it because that was the company line. But I think behind closed doors is kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to all of it. Like, yeah, no, like we don't want the extra revenue. Like, we don't have the rights to, like, edit this and only show what we want to have shown. Like, there's a little bit of like, all right, relax. Like, you're Aaron and the Jets are trying to create the narrative before the season even starts.
Yeah, and you tell me, like, those young guys like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner don't want extra cameras? Like, come on. Like,
they're about that camera life. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
They have not a camera they didn't like. So
again, Aaron Rodgers is like that grumpy old man that tells the kids, get off my lawn. That's basically what he is at 39 years old. You got a younger team that they are social media savvy. You mentioned Sauce Gardner. He's all about the cameras, about the action, about the ice around his neck. That's just night and day between Rodgers and Sauce Gardner. Yes, they want to win. Yes, they want to be that team that was a contender at the end of the day. But come on, the cameras are going to be there. You're going to have to accept the fact that it is, and be your 100% authentic grumpy self, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we already know who you are. Just don't pretend to be something that you're not.
Yeah, no doubt. And Ben, I believe you had something else, sir?
I was just going to say, going back to a team that missed the playoffs last year to make it, I went with the Steelers as well. They've done an excellent job in the draft 2 to 3 years in a row. Like every year you see those draft grades and they've been getting A's 2 or 3 years in a row. You have Deontay Johnson, you have George Pickens, Kenny Pickett, and Tomlin, like we already said. So that was why one team that missed last year to make it this year. And then we're going to flip it to one team that made the playoffs last year to miss this year. And I think this one's going to surprise y'all, but I'm saying the Vikings. And here's why. I know they were 14-3 or 13-4, whatever it was. But they
were a fugazi 13-4.
Yes.
What's so shocking about this?
Okay, so I didn't surprise you at all. They don't have Dalvin Cook now. They don't have Adam Thielen, and they won 11 games last year. This was even more mind-blowing than anything else. 13 wins, 11 were by 7 points or less.
Mm-hmm.
That is not sustainable. If your name is not Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, the record year after year, you could look for 60 years back of the record of teams in one-score games. It is one of the most unpredictable things that there is. So that is going to come back to the mean. So maybe it was the obvious choice, but my answer was the Vikings missed the playoffs.
Oh, I'm sure Marissa's so sad about that. Marissa, I'm sure you're just so sad about that one. I mean, after watching that QB series on Netflix about Kirk Cousins, I have a newfound respect for him. But at the end of the day, he is who he is. And as he gets older and as he gets those nicks and those knacks across the season, the Vikings are who they are. They're going to be a good team, just middle of the road. They got real lucky, and I don't know, man. They might have a losing record. I don't know if they don't fix their issues. I don't know. We'll see.
No need for them to fix their issues. No need. No need.
Well, what about you, Marissa? What's a team from last year that made the playoffs that's going to miss it?
I thought about this one. And this one was pretty hard. I want to say Jacksonville something.
I like it. Yeah, I
you
like
are gonna
it.
come after me?
No, because Marissa's like the hype train. The hype train. Jaguars.
I mean, people were saying, how lucky they were, and all the hype, and how this team was, Doug Peterson and what he did with this team and everything else, and they just think that at the end of the day, when they went to the playoffs and then they were out of the playoffs, it was a one-trick pony. And they had some, a few changes on their team, especially on the defensive side of things. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be that same exact team that's going to that's going to be in the postseason. I don't know. I mean, Jacksonville fans, don't come after me. I mean, this was a tough question. Like, I saw this on the notes and I'm going, I don't know. But Jacksonville, for some reason, I think that it's going to be down to several of their games that they have at the end of the season that I just feel that they will not win those. Sorry, y'all. And they're going to miss the postseason. Don't hate me, y'all.
No, but here's the thing, though. Like, this is a big year for Trevor Lawrence, right? Because as we talk about throughout the show and the seasons, there's going to be that narrative discussion that I really like to talk about. It's one of those intangible things that are inevitable as you start to go in the years 3, 4. It's just like Justin Herbert, like Jalen Hurts Jalen Hurts, for instance, going into last year, we had talked about from a narrative perspective, this was going to be a big year for him, and he proved to come out pretty big, right? So now for Trevor Lawrence, we have the conversation of, okay, he's kind of in the same position as Justin Herbert, I feel, where it's like, what type of quarterback are you going to be? Because there's no more excuses anymore. You're going into year 4 now. Like you kind of have to start producing some results. So
I like
this
it,
is going to
Jeff.
be a
You're
make
like,
or break
you're
year.
like teasing the next topic. I like it. I see you.
Yes,
I see
exactly.
you.
Hey, I'm thinking. But a team that made the playoffs that I think is going to miss it. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins because there's so much hype around them, but it's all based on Mr. Concussion himself. And you have jujitsu, and their coach looks like your 11th grade math
Oh
teacher.
my
There's
gosh.
just something about him.
Jeff,
There's just something about that guy. I'm just like, I looked at him today at the press conference, y'all, and I'm just like, yo, there's just something about this guy. He just looks like a really good pal. But can he be a leader of men? When these players are looking at him, do they see a leader? And he dropped the ball with the whole concussion situation last year. I don't trust that Mr. Concussion himself is going to be able to stay upright through the 17-game season and for them to be able to make the playoffs.
Then you
Overall
add
thoughts.
Eli Apple, who is this is now his 5th or 6th team that he's on, and he just turned 27. I mean, should the Dolphin fans be excited that he's a part of this team now?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. Gary, your boy Eli Apple.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I found out it's his 5th team. This is his 5th team, 5th opportunity, and I can't name 5 things that were outstanding for him in the NFL since leaving the Ohio State University.
Hey, show some respect.
Hey, look, it's his 5th opportunity to make a good first impression, and it has to stick at some point. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, he can make it happen for Miami and everything.
Mhm.
As far as the team that's not going to make the playoffs, I'm going to go a little bit on the obvious side here and say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will not make the playoffs because,
Hello?
quarterback.
So, Gary, you do not believe in Baker Mayfield?
I do not.
Woo!
He had that one magic moment on Monday Night Football because
year.
everybody gets a magic moment on Monday Night Football. I think you have those moments. Good for them, but I don't think he's not going to be the savior in Tampa Bay. So, like I said before, I had to flip a coin to figure out who was going to win the division. I went with New Orleans because they just have enough offensive firepower too. So, yeah, somebody has to go from the NFC. The easiest answer is Tampa Bay. They might actually be one of the worst teams this season. Who knows?
Who's going to win that division? Like this division race, real quick, before you get to Ben. Like this division race is really intriguing because any team could win it, I feel, and not like running away. Like I really think if Carolina has a decent defense, I think Bryce Young. I mean, the dude can still throw the hell at the ball, and he's just insanely accurate. If he can stay upright, and then you think about Atlanta with all those just running backs, and if they can figure out a way to get Desmond Ridder the ball to the playmakers, a la Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Kyle Pitts. You forget about this guy. Drake London, this is a team that actually has some decent weapons. And then you think about the New Orleans Saints, man. Like Derek Carr is not a scrub. I mean, he made the Pro Bowl last year. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is going to be definitely a very interesting race. But, Ben, your thoughts on your team. Go ahead.
No. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I already named my team to miss, so I'm good.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Derek Carr is going to take all of his frustrations that he experienced the last season playing for the Raiders, and he's going to come out guns blazing. They need to look out. I think the Saints fans need to start getting excited about this team. He's going to be exciting to watch, I feel. And do something with this. I think I agree. I think either one of y'all said it, that they could win the division. I think they will. I think they will.
No doubt. But it's going to be interesting. But let's keep this thing going here just for time purposes. And let's get to this one. Do the Eagles end the 20-year streak and win the NFC East back-to-back years? I'm just going to say yes. I'll leave it at that. Gary? because this is y'all's division. So I know I'm excited you're to talk about the Eagles.
Ooh, that pause.
The Eagles hater in me wants to say no and that my Giants are going to shock everybody and win the NFC East. But I'm realistic. My mom did not raise a fool. So I'm thinking, I'm going to say that, yes, the Eagles end up breaking the streak and they're the back-to-back NFC East division winners.
And, Gary and Ben, and just not to touch on the Cowboys for too much, but I was watching First Take today, and they were talking about with Mike McCarthy calling the plays and how Dak Prescott has CeeDee Lamb talking about how he has control of the offense. And I'm like, a dude that still had 15 interceptions after missing 5 games last year, do you still want him to have the keys to the offense?
He's number 8 all time in lowest interception rate career, including last year. Last year was an anomaly, not the norm.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What have you done for me lately?
Hey, he had a bad year. No denying it.
He did,
but we got 7 years of a sample size that he doesn't throw picks. And
okay,
1 year
should that still be applied to Russell Wilson over the seasons and he had a bad year? Or do we just say that maybe he's declining?
I ain't saying nothing bad about Russell Wilson. You're the one talking about him.
And I'm just asking you a question, Ben. Answer the question.
What's the question?
I just asked you the question.
Well, I'm focused on the Eagles winning the division.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Ben.
I love
Go
this.
ahead, Ben.
No, so I'm gonna be a huge shocker. I'm gonna say no, and there's 2 reasons. One, granted, has to do with I don't trust that Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown will stay healthy for 17 games. That's one reason.
Wow.
The other reason is Dallas and Philly last year were a lot closer than what people want to talk about or admit. The point differential was 8 points better for Philly. I'm not looking at it right now, but their point differential was only basically a touchdown better than ours. And we got Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore. And we have potentially the best defense in the league, which I think is a topic for another episode. I was thinking about it today. Between the Jets, the Broncos, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Cowboys, what do we think is the best defense? Because those are clearly the top 5. So, it's tough to say, but I think Dallas has the potential to be the best defense in the league. And Gallup is back to his number 3 role, which last year proved he can't be a number 2, which is fine. You can be a good number 3 in this league and play in the league for 10, 15 years. So you got CeeDee Lamb as the 1, Brandon Cooks, and Gallup. So, yeah, I think that Dallas could do it. And could I be wrong? Absolutely. Philly is the better team on paper, but there wasn't much of a difference between us and them last year.
Yeah, no, I think the Cowboys have talent. There's no denying it. I just think that the Cowboys are one of those teams that they're just fun to talk about, and there's no middle ground. It's either you love them or you hate them. There's really no in between for the Cowboys. So it's going to be definitely very interesting. But Marissa, what are your thoughts?
I think that they're going to win it back to back, but I cannot wait for the episode that we're going to have when game 1 is the Cowboys at the Giants. And I cannot wait for Ben, and I cannot wait for Gary's insight and recap of this game, because I think that's going to be a tall tale sign of how the Cowboys season is going to be. Dak is now 30.
Is that the 4th year in a row that we've opened?
I feel like
Sunday night game.
Last year
Sunday night matchup. That game is already sold out.
Oh, last year was the Bucs. You're right. We played the Bucs.
We played the Bucs, and then we played the Broncos week 1.
Okay, but before that, it was like 2 years in a row that Dallas and the Giants.
Most of my childhood, the NFL season has started with the Giants and Dallas, either playing in Dallas or playing in the Meadowlands. This feels almost inevitable. When I started the schedule, I'm just like, why? Why must it always be this?
I'm just going to have my popcorn ready, but literally sit back and just watch you two dissect the results of this game because it's going to be quite entertaining. So, but yeah, my quick answer is yes. Back to back for the Eagles.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. That Super Bowl hangover is real. It's real, and history always has a way of repeating itself. It's gonna be very, very, very interesting to watch here. Now, let's kind of get to another team here that will be very interesting to talk about, and I guess we'll talk about the Los Angeles Chargers. What would be a successful season for them? I hope they're not successful for obvious reasons, and I hope they absolutely fail. But no, honestly, this is a team, guys. Ben, I feel like going all the way back to the early 2000s, this team has had an abundance of
talent.
Abundance is not a word. They had an abundance and a variety of talent, and they have come up short. It is just unbelievable. I mean, I'm not complaining, but the amount of talent that this team has had, for them, they need to not just make the playoffs, but they need to make a deep run this year. And with Justin Herbert, with that contract, with all the weapons that they have, Austin Eckler's not getting any younger. This might be the last real year where he's going to be valuable, not just in fantasy, but just on the field. You have one of the most dynamic running backs. I'm not going to say the history, but probably one of the most dynamic playmakers that we've seen. Maybe not in a generation. For them, they got to win at least 10, 11 games, make it to the AFC Championship. I'm just going to say that.
Their first 6 games are going to be crazy. I mean, you look at their schedule. They're at the Rams. They hosted the Saints. They're at the 49ers. They host the Dolphins. They are at the Titans, and they're at the Vikings. If you get thrown the ultimate bag like that, you better be 6-0 by the time you go and play and host the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 7. I don't know what else to say. They just need to perform well. He was given the ultimate bag, which is still outstandingly shocking to me how much money that this kid got. But they are believing in him. They're believing that he is the leader, that he's the ultimate leader that he can be, and to take this team into the postseason again and beyond. But, I mean, the 6 games that I just read to y'all.
You know, football is about – it's not just about Justin Herbert. To us, it's not about always the regular season numbers, right? Kirk Cousins, a lot of these other guys have put up great regular season numbers, man. But the thing is moments. It's about moments. And the thing with him is, can he come through in the big moments? Not when things are going well, but when he's not playing when he's not throwing, 300 yards, when he's throwing maybe 175, had an interception, maybe completed less than 50% of his passes. Can he get them over the hump in the right moment for them to be able to win the game? Death by inches.
That's what it is. That's what it's all about. I agree.
Yeah, Ben?
Yeah, so I wrote down for them to have a successful season, they got to make the divisional round at worst for 2 reasons. The talent level that you talked about, and also it is very likely this is the last year that you will have Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler together for sure, and they both actually might not be on the team next year. So this is your last hurrah, for lack of better words, with those two. And Keenan Allen, sure, he's older, but he's still really good still. And Eckler is easily a top 5 running back in the league. And yeah, so they gotta actually do something besides make the playoffs. A wild card appearance isn't going to get it done. You got to at least win 1 playoff game, because there is a natural progression. Like, we made it this far this year. The next, let's take one more step. So if last year was wild card, you at least got to make the divisional round this year. I also wrote down sweep the Chiefs, because if they don't make it to the divisional round, but they beat the Chiefs twice, I mean, that could be considered a success, I guess, because they always play the Chiefs tight, and they have beaten them. So, but Gary, what you got, buddy, on these Chargers?
No, I mean, really, I'm kind of going along the lines of what Jeff said. for the amount of talent that this team has historically had to have been a consistent underachiever, especially now with a solid quarterback in Justin Herbert. I think, like you said, Eckler isn't getting any younger. Mike Williams isn't getting any younger. Keenan Allen's not getting any younger. You have talent around you on offense and defense. You have to strike while the iron's hot. So, yeah, I say that a successful season is an appearance in the AFC Championship game. They have the talent to get there. They just underachieved terribly for most of our lives, really, if you think about it. Like,
I mean, they've downplayed to their competition.
Mm-hmm.
They always downplay to their competition. I mean, 2009. Do we need to talk about that? They were clearly the better team and still underperformed and couldn't make it. Like, it's just absolutely an embarrassment. But I hope they continue to stay embarrassed. But let's get to this. Let's kind of get real quickly here because we're kind of coming up to the end. Let's just do round robin here because I really want to spend like 2 minutes to talk about the next 5 years with Trevor Lawrence and Herbert and Jalen Hurts and Burrow. So each of you, what is the worst fantasy football move you've ever made and the best football move you've ever made? Marissa, we'll start with you. Okay. Do you need to come back? Okay, we'll come back. Ben.
So the worst was trading for Carson Palmer on a Saturday and then on Sunday towards ACL. So that wasn't good. And then the second, I also Le'Veon Bell, the year that he sat out, I of course drafted him in whatever the first or second round. The best, I sold high on AJ Green. AJ Green had a 3-touchdown game Thursday night. I sold him. I traded him for DeAndre Hopkins, I think straight up. And it was the first 4 games of the year. Hopkins hadn't performed that well compared to AJ Green, and AJ Green had 3 touchdowns in that Thursday game. So I didn't lose after that game. So, yeah, that was the best move.
Okay. Respect. Gary?
Well, as the 4-time and reigning and defending Thunderdome fantasy football champion, get a look at the belt, look at it. As I prepare to defend this title yet again, I'm back-to-back champion for those that don't know. I can't say that I made a lot of bad moves to win 4 titles in a 10-year span. However, trading for Odell Beckham Jr. right before he breaks his ankle in the season, bad move. Bad move. The best move that I made came 2 years ago where somehow somebody in my league left Tom Brady as a free agent. I picked him up, went on an 8-game winning streak, and got championship number 3 as a result. So, I mean, really, that was my best move. Was my quarterback play was suspect to that point. And up in Tampa Tom, and he got a decent enough run to get him to another championship. So,
okay, all right, respected. All right, Marissa, you good now?
Oh my goodness! You gotta love it when people pull the fire alarm as a prank.
fun.
I love it. I love it.
Hopefully it won't go off again. So I'm sorry, gentlemen.
No worries.
Worst move is that I allowed somebody to pick my draft and my draft name. I was unable to attend my very first fantasy football draft. And so I trusted this individual to pick my team and my name. I'm sorry for those. If you have children in the room, please remove them. My draft name was Miss New Booty because to this individual, I reminded them of a rap song by Bubba Sparks. And I'm like,
oh,
awesome.
Oh, my childhood.
There he goes. Rocking everywhere.
Okay.
Get it together and bring it back to me. Because I sure did. Because the best part of that is that year I won outright. So I know how it is. I hated the name, but however, the name stuck. And I won back-to-back years. So, yeah, that was my worst, but my best moments of fantasy football. And I'm excited to be playing fantasy football. It's been a minute since I played, but now I'm excited to be on some teams this year. So looking forward to it.
Well, you got that invite for that DTS league, so hopefully.
Thank you very much.
But no pressure. No pressure.
Yes, and I'll make sure that I come with a great name. And word to all y'all out there: don't trust nobody to pick your squad and the name, especially the name.
Facts on that one. I think the best one that I got was actually freshman year of college in 2007. I drafted Adrian Peterson, and that was the year that he went off for, oh my God, like 290 something yards. Man, why are you looking at me like that?
No, wasn't that the year he ran for over 2,000?
Yeah,
was that the year?
I'm old man,
Something like that.
But he had a hell of a game. I can't remember, but all I know is that Adrian Peterson feasted, and I benefited mightily. And then I'm going to say my worst one was when I drafted him. I think was in 2014, the second overall pick, and he didn't play pretty much that season for a situation that we will not discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
If you know what I'm talking about. So we'll leave it at that. We have to keep it PG. So so fun stuff. So real quick, just as we're rounding up here, next 5 years. I'm trying to get better at these visuals here. Let's see. Next 5 years. Would you prefer Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert? And Ben, I'll throw it to you first. And then we also have the same question: Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow? Let's do round robin, and then we'll get to Gary's gripes, and then we will be done.
So Lawrence or Herbert? I chose Herbert. His interception rate, which is a very good indicator for a quarterback, is 1.8%, which is the 5th best ever. So turning the ball over, as in like not turning it over as a quarterback, is very important. And he's been at 66% or higher completion percentage all 3 years. And on average, I just kind of totaled his averages: 31 touchdowns and 11 picks. That's like his average season through 3 years. That's pretty good. And I think that there's a chance that he's a better communicator leader than Herbert. Than Lawrence. So I chose Herbert on that one. I know we kind of want to go fast, so I'll leave it at that. Marissa, same question to you. What you got?
Justin Herbert.
Okay, that's pretty
I like it.
That's real.
Sorry, real. Jacksonville fans, part 2.
Well, okay, just real quick, Gary, but okay, is it because of just his talent or the team that he has around him?
The team that he has around him. He's talented. No, make no mistake of that. I think what humbled him is that this young man was used to winning. Okay, he won a lot in Clemson. He won. They showed the backstory of him winning in high school, and then coming to college and winning, and and then getting that reality check of Jacksonville and having the losing seasons, and then Doug Peterson coming in and reformatting this team and retooling this team. Of just not buying what they're selling with the team that's around him. If they can get some key pieces, especially on the defensive end, is this my concern? That I think the offensive end is 75%, but I think with he will be effective. The team around him, how much are they going to protect him to be effective? Again, I love a challenge. I love when teams prove me wrong, when I doubt them, because I will have at my table the best big humble pie, and I will truly eat it. If Jacksonville can just go and be better than they were last year and be a contender team, and the team around them, the team that's going to surround Trevor Lawrence, and they do well, prove me wrong. But right now I have question marks.
Okay, that's fair. Gary?
I think I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence only because I believe, and I look at the team, I look at his the management, I look at Trent Baalke, and I think that he wants to have a positive imprint in Jacksonville as some of his predecessors had before. And, he wants to kind of replicate that same success. And now they have a marketable quarterback. That's always been Jacksonville's stigma. It was like, you had Mark Brunell. You had a minute with Gardner Minshew. You had a minute with Byron Leftwich. You had all these different quarterbacks that were supposed to be like the savior or the second coming or the guy that's going to take Jacksonville to the next level, and they've all fallen short. But I think that Trevor Lawrence is just different. And I think because of having Doug Peterson as a coach, because of having Trent Baalke as a general manager who's going to put the pieces around him, we've already seen him take the steps forward this season, and I trust him, even though I think they may take a step back this year. I think 5 years from now, if Trevor Lawrence continues to progress and he can stay healthy, that's a team that's going to be in the AFC title picture. That's a team that you can see Jacksonville going to the Super Bowl under Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback versus Justin Herbert, who, I'm sorry, I've said the Chargers were cursed years ago, and I still believe it now. I don't believe that franchise can really ever get out of its way, and I think that's Justin Herbert's going to be a victim of because of it.
Okay, I think for me, when I look at like the evolution, I like to talk about like the evolution of certain positions, and I think for me, Justin Herbert to be viable when it comes to fantasy football, he doesn't use his legs really at all. He's more of a pocket passer type quarterback, and in order for him to be effective, he has to throw for 4,500. Or more yards a season, has to have probably 35 plus touchdowns, a low interception rate. I just like Trevor Lawrence because he can beat you in other ways outside of his arm. He has very underrated rushing ability. Yes. And we saw that against my Buckeyes, unfortunately. But the man can run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think that in today's NFL, you have to be able to be maneuverable within and outside the pocket to be able to extend plays. And I just think that he just adds another element that I think is very underappreciated. And I'm going to be targeting him in a lot of drafts this year. I think that he's going to take a step forward. So I would have to go with Trevor Lawrence just because of that. Now, Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow. I'm just going to – that's a tough one for me. But I'm just going to say, just based on the sample size, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow right now because I need to see Jalen Hurts do it more. He had one great season. Let's see if he can do it again or replicate that same type of success. Joe Burrow has shown me a little bit more since he's come in. That's just my thoughts. Marissa?
I think I agree with you 100%. Even though that he did get injured in a non-contact injury during, OTAs, I still go with Joe Burrow.
There we go. That's simple. Ben, and then Gary will go to you, and then go to your grade.
Yeah, definitely Burrow, bigger sample size, and any quarterback that's 3-1 against Patrick Mahomes, who's the best player in football, and he's 3-1 against him. Yeah, I'm rolling with that. I'm rolling with that guy. So I got Burrow over Hurts. Hurts had a great year, and we're not saying that he's not going to have another great year. We're just saying see if he can replicate it.
See if he can have a great year since the bag got thrown at him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I feel like for Jalen Hurts, like he just had everything go right for him. Joe Burrow has those type of intangibles where we've seen where things weren't necessarily going right, and if the coin flipped the other way, he'd be 4-0 against Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like if things are going wrong, and again, we talk about moments. A lot went right for Philly last year. Let's see how he handles that adversity going into next season. But you got the floor, Gary.
I'll say real quick, Joe Burrow, for the reasons you've all explained. I think that team is just built for long-term success, and they want to keep Joe Burrow as happy as they can for as long as they can, because he is really, like, he may go down, and probably is right now, best quarterback in Bengals history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a really long list, and you got Boomer Esiason, Carson Palmer. I'm forgetting somebody. I know I'm Cincinnati fans will be DMing me names that I'm just like, oh yeah, him too. But yeah, I think Joe Burrow, that team is built for long-term success, and I think 5 years from now, you look at him, he's going to be the best quarterback in the game, or at least fighting back and forth with Pat Mahomes for that title. Now to my gripe. Yes. As I'm watching this, I'm watching the game cast of the Yankees and the Rays, and it looks like we're about to take another loss here. We're down 5-2, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. I went to the trade deadline, and I'm expecting, as a Yankee fan, something with substance, something impactful, something that's going to turn what's essentially been a nightmare season around. Kenyon Middleton, Spencer Howard. I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds to quickly tell me who they are.
No idea.
Neither did I.
I got nothing.
Neither did I until I Googled them this afternoon. They are relief pitchers for the Yankees who, I don't know if anybody knows this. The relief pitching isn't the problem. The bullpen's not the problem, folks. It's your offense. It's constipated. It's stuck. It's doing nothing. Like we just scored 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth because it was there to do so. But the teams that we have to try to catch up to in both AL East and in the wild card, I'm like, I was stunned by the fact that there is not a more impactful move for this team at the trade deadline. And when the season ends and we're on the outside looking in, it's like, what changes are going to come from that? And unfortunately, I'm led to believe that just because we didn't make the playoffs, as long as we had a winning record, hey, Cashman stays. Hey, Aaron Boone stays. And as a Yankee fan, it's like, I'm a forever love my team, but I'm hating what they've become. I don't know. Like they are. I'm not used to mediocrity and the Yankees being associated in the same sentence, but yet here we are in 2023, and it's sad.
Yeah, Gary, I'm with you on that, man. And we talked about this. I just think that we have we've tried to fix the problem with Band-Aids versus addressing a long-term issue. Signing Josh Donaldson at 37, trading for Frankie Montas,
Bad move.
Signing Carlos Rendon, who's 6 years, 160 million. He already had back problems.
Bad move.
Nestor Cortez. I mean, it's just, and then now we have Giancarlo Stanton for 60 million more for 4 more years.
Can't run.
I mean, it's going to get really bad.
Let's keep going.
I'm just saying.
Please just stay healthy, protect him, wrap him with some Pletz scrap, something, because that's a lot of money spent for him to have a bad toe.
That's all. But anywho, guys, we'll get off that Yankee soapbox. That was fun. Marissa, Ben, Gary, appreciate you guys. We got episode 98, 99, man. We are 3 episodes away from 100. It's been quite a rise, it's been quite a journey, guys. So definitely, really appreciate y'all, and we'll get back at it again soon. So that's a wrap for tonight's episode. We thank all of our supporters. Stay tuned for our next episode, and cheers until next time.